The atmosphere change.
You're up.
Yes. There he is.
We are back on the record and adjourned from executive session. Next on the agenda is a proclamation honoring St. Paul's Church for their 175th anniversary. All the members from St. Paul's, could they come forward? Yeah, he can come on.
I'll hold my breath.
Don't you dare. I don't want anybody passing out. We're going to stand close to the mic so people can hear.
Can I take mine off?
All right. All right. So this is a proclamation to St. Paul's, and we do appreciate it, the church being in our community. Whereas St. Paul's Church began in 1835 with a small group of German immigrants who met for worship and purchased the lot at the corner of Green and Downing for $400 in 1840. And in 1845, the structure that was Cumberland Presbyterian Church, located on Wayne Street, was purchased for $300 and moved to the present location. All right. St. Paul's is the story of persons of vision and courage, fears and hopes, persons who knew suffering and sorrow, sacrifice and hard work, and persons who found joy in their faith and believed in Christ and His church, placing their trust in the hands of those who follow. Now, therefore, I, Chris Lee, Mayor of the City of Piqua, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2021 as a time and honor to celebrate the 175th anniversary of St. Paul's Church. I want to thank you guys. Can you guys, come forward? All three of you, yeah. Well, let me get in the middle.
All right.
I'm gonna give it to one. Thank you.
Hang on.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought you were holding on.
No,
No problem.
I thought about it once. I'll carry it.
It's all right. Thank you,
Thanks a lot.
guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
We have 3 items on the consent agenda this evening. We have approval of the minutes from the September 7th, 2021 regular Piqua City Commission meeting. Resolution R8121, a resolution of appreciation for the public service of M. Lorena Lukic as a city employee. Resolution number R8221, a resolution establishing trick-or-treat beggars night in the city of Piqua.
All right. The resolution for appreciation for the public service of M. Lorena Lukic goes as follows. Whereas M. Lorena Lukic has retired an account clerk 2 with the city of Piqua, and whereas her retirement follows over 20 years of faithful and dedicated service to the city and its citizens. Now therefore be it resolved by the Commission of the City of Piqua, Miami County, Ohio, all members elected thereto concurring that in recognition and appreciation for the public service of M. Lorena Lukic with the City of Piqua, this commission tenders its unanimous and respectful tribute by this resolution, which shall be a matter of public and permanent record. The resolution shall take effect and be enforced from after the earliest period follows. So we'd like to thank M. Lorena Lukic for more than 20 years of service, and we appreciate her hard work and dedication. So thank you. Thank you very much. And trick or treat will be on the 28th.
The 28th, I believe, yes, sir.
All right.
Here. From 6 to 8.
From 6 to 8. We will keep bringing that up and remind people. We'll put it out on the website just so everybody knows. All right. Any comments on the consent agenda from the commission?
I move that we adopt
Yep.
the consent agenda.
Second?
Motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is old business, ordinance number O-4-21, a second reading.
An ordinance enacting a new Chapter 32.08 of the Piqua Code relating to establishing utility board. Amy Welker, Director of Health and Sanitation, will be presenting the staff report.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is the second reading. As we discussed at the last meeting, city staff is recommending the creation of a city utility board. The board would be an advisory board to the commission. It would be similar to the city's energy board. This board would entertain items dealing with the other utilities, including water, wastewater, stormwater, and sanitation. The board would entertain business related to all matters of those utility departments, including budget items, capital improvements, anything that would affect the efficient operation of those departments. We're recommending this to create a public forum for citizens to be involved, understand what goes on in those departments, to create transparency so that information can be shared more readily with the community. At the last meeting, it was recommended that we increase the number of city commissioners that would be a part of the board to 2, which we've done, and that's reflected now in the ordinance.
All right. Any questions from commission? Any questions from citizens? Okay, at this point, then we'll make that a second reading and set it for a third reading next month. Next on our agenda is new business, resolution number R-83-21.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to submit an application for federal FAST Act funds through the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission. Amy Havener, city engineer, will be presenting the staff report.
Thank you. This legislation would allow for the city to apply for funding for the resurfacing of Looney Road from County Road 25A to US Route 36. We do have the option to apply for funding up to 80% paid for by federal funds, and the remainder 20% would actually be divided between Miami County and the city of Piqua, because a portion of that is in the county. So out of the 20%, 43% of that is actually in the county. So while the 20% portion is around $149,000, out of that, the city would only be responsible for about $85,000 of that. So basically, out of a $750,000 project between federal funding and the county's portion, the city would be responsible for about $85,000. So this would allow us to apply for this funding and get in the queue in the pipeline. Hopefully we get funded, and if that's the case, then we would be looking at a 2023 resurfacing year.
Any questions from commission?
I just wanted to make a comment. I actually sit on the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission on behalf of the city, and I'm happy to know that we've applied for this. We actually got an email recently, and I actually sent something to Paul and Chris just to make sure that we were, because if we don't, the money goes away. And so it's almost like free money, if you can ever say money is free money. So I'm glad to see this, and I think the infrastructure improvement will be wonderful at a very low cost for us. So thank you.
I mean, $750,000 and we only pay $85,000. You guys are doing a wonderful job. Appreciate that.
Do we look at doing anything with Looney Road in the meantime? Because you said that'd be 2023.
So I know the city, the Public Works Department is having it crack sealed currently. So we're hoping to do crack sealing, and then if we have to do any type of patching, but our goal is the crack sealing will hold until we can get in there and mill and resurface.
Perfect. Thanks.
Any comments from the citizens? Come forward. State your name and address.
Stephen Smitley, 1806 Wilshire Drive. I suspect FAST stands for something, initials. Curiosity, what is it?
That's a good question.
Doesn't know.
Good
Off the
question.
top of her head.
I don't have to look it up for you.
Just, I suspected it stood for something, wondered what it was.
Funding America's something
Streets and
transportation.
Thoroughways?
Transportation.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Smedley. All right. If there are no more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number R-83-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-84-21.
A resolution adopting the City of Piqua 2022 through 2024 Capital Improvement Plan.
So in March of this past year, the city manager had requested that the department heads get together and start looking at a capital improvement plan. We've always had a 10-year plan in place, but by the time you get out 10 years, it's kind of just, a guess at that point. So he asked that we look at a 3-year plan that gets us a 2022, almost a budget year plan, and then 2 more years out, just so the public has an idea of what's coming before them, as well as commission, and it allows city staff to plan. So what this is it's a plan that consists of projects or purchases greater than $50,000, and it has to be an asset that would be city-owned. So all the city department heads and city staff got together, put their projects in, and they were ranked based off of a ranking summary, which takes into account economic development benefit, safety benefits, how much local funding or federal funding you'll have. So it basically came down to each department has their project priorities. We did have an internal meeting with Commissioner Fote and Commissioner Grissom and the Planning Commission Chair, Gary Koenig, and we did a lot of vetting at that meeting as well, had a lot of good discussion. That draft then went to Planning Commission, and they did not have any changes, and I don't believe anybody in the public had any comments. So now it's before City Commission to adopt. Again, this is a plan. There is no financial package attached to any of these. Just because it's in here doesn't mean we're going to do it. It's our direction that we would like to move should the funding be available.
At what point did the citizens have input?
So, Planning Commission had a public meeting, and they advertised it, and it was put out, the entire, as like it was tonight, the entire form of the CIP was put out for Planning Commission and city comment.
How many citizens showed up?
I don't know that, Paul, you were there, did,
Yeah, there were about 6.
Okay.
I just want to say I know it's a lot of work putting all that information together. It really helps bring some cohesiveness between the departments. We can really look at things as a whole. And like you said, it's a plan. It's going to be fluid. As environment changes, that's going to change as well too. But it at least gives us some foresight and direction on how we want to move in the future. So thank you for all the work on it. I know it wasn't easy.
you're welcome, thank you.
I'm just going to caveat what Commissioner Grissom said, seeing what you guys done in a short amount of time as directors. So underneath your leadership, Paul, greatly appreciate that. But pulling all the directors together and all you directors coming together that quick to put a plan like this together for us to be able to review was absolutely immaculate, greatly appreciated. I look forward to more meetings to hopefully get more citizen involvement through this plan and see if it's stuff that they want to carry along with, because it shares your guys' futures for our cities as you guys work for us. So I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the hard work and energy put into it and the chance for the citizens to have a say in it as well, because it will directly affect them. So, any comments from citizens on this, the CIP plan?
And I'm sorry, I have a question. I'm assuming this is online, so if citizens want to look at it, they can.
It is.
correct?
There's actually a link that Karen put. We did not print the entire packet
Yeah.
for this meeting, but there is a link on our homepage under
On
the
the
commission
homepage.
agenda.
Good, so
Yes.
it's easy to find.
Yes.
Excellent.
We do have a hard copy available in the city building if they'd like to come in and look at that as well.
Great, okay.
That's always good. No comment from citizens? I will accept the motion then.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-84-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-85-21.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for public health services. Amy Welker will present the staff report.
Good evening again. Thank you. In July of this year, the state legislature adopted their budget bill. And as part of that, there was a provision that would require any health district that serves a population of less than 50,000 people to complete a feasibility study. The study would be designed to determine if public health services would be more effectively provided to citizens through a collaboration with a county health department. I think as part of the state looking at how services are rendered, they're looking to limit the number of departments that they have to work with, especially in light of a lot of the grant money that had come in the last year for COVID and different things. Currently, the city contracts with Miami County Health District for all of our medical services related to public health, including all of our clinics, nursing services, immunizations, and disease investigations. We also contract with them currently for plumbing inspection services, well permits, and private sewage system permits. The city health department currently basically just does the environmental health programs, which consist of the licensing of businesses related to things such as food service operations, tattoo and body piercing, and public swimming pools. Also, services rendered through the department are the vital records for the city, and also some components of code compliance, mainly the nuisance code. In addition to potentially having to do this feasibility study, the department is also under a state mandate to attain national accreditation through the Public Health Accreditation Board. The city has been working on that for a couple of years, and the criteria to do that is quite extensive, and with the staff that we have, it's not going to be feasible for us to attain accreditation unless we were to hire someone full-time, that would be their only responsibility, is to get the department accredited and then maintain that accreditation. We've determined that the cost of doing that would be an additional $114,000 per year. So as these two things have come to light, the city manager asked that we look into what would be the most economical way to provide these services to the public. So what this resolution tonight would do would be allow the city manager to enter into a contract for all of the public health services in a joint venture with the county health department that also includes all the other cities of Miami County and all the townships.
What is the current contract that we have with the county for the services that we contract with them?
How much is it? It's about $35,000 we pay for the medical services. I think it runs around $9,000 to $10,000 for the plumbing and the other inspection services. And under this current situation that we would be looking into, the county auditor would actually determine the cost of the contract. It's spelled out in state code of how a contract for services such as this would take place. And the initial estimate is that it would cost less than $200,000 for the first year. It's based on the property valuation of the properties in the city.
So is there any other cities in the county that have their own health department?
No, there's only 25 city health departments left in the state. The vast majority have already entered into something like this. It's becoming harder and harder for the small departments to maintain all of the state mandates. So a lot of them have already done this.
I know some concerns you hear is, what are the quality of services decrease? Is there any current representation with the county board or potentially in the future so we can have a say on how services are provided for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we were to enter into this contract, we would have a seat then on the County Board of Health, a representative that would represent Piqua.
Thanks.
Any other questions from commission?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that this is going to be the big question for our citizens because it's been so nice to be able to get things here. And I know we talked about still keeping birth certificates possibly here if we can and things like that. But I think the more we can be in front of this with information and education for our citizens, what this is going to look like and how they're going to be affected and continue to be served, I think will be helpful.
Absolutely.
I agree. I just recently, last week, got a birth certificate because I couldn't find mine. I don't know where it was at the house, but in the convenience of being here instead of Troy, it makes it very convenient. And I get the same question from citizens that ask me. And then they, of course, asked about the property valuation as well, and you answered that one just fine. Any questions from citizens?
Stephen Smitling, Wilshire Drive. I may have heard wrong. It sounded like the cost to hire somebody full-time for our Piqua was $115,000 is what I thought I heard, but the cost of this was $200,000.
Right. So the 114 would be in addition to what we already pay for the health services, which is around, our budget's around $350,000 for the department.
I see.
So that'd be in addition to
You're
that.
looking at $464,000 and opposed to $200,000.
Yes.
Correct.
I didn't catch it all.
Great,
Thank you.
no, great question. Very good question, Mr. Smitler. Any other questions from citizens? I then will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number R-85-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-86-21.
A resolution to adopt the solid waste management plan for the Miami County Solid Waste Management District. Amy Welker will present.
Thank you. This before you is an item that comes before the commission every so often as an update to the solid waste management plan. This is a requirement of the Solid Waste Management District, which we are a part of as a part of a Miami County entity that is required to take our solid waste to the county transfer station. The plan has to be updated, I believe it's every 5 years, and it's an EPA requirement. The district will have to provide goals to meet in terms of things such as a recycling goal, how they're going to provide the services needed to make sure we have capacity to get rid of our solid waste, those types of things. Actually, Brad Petrie is here tonight. He's with the Miami County Solid Waste District. If you have any specific questions about the plan, he'd be happy to answer them.
I knew you looked familiar. I was trying to
Yes.
put it
Yeah.
together.
No, as she said, my name is Brad Petrie. I'm the solid waste coordinator for Miami County. As she said, it is something that Ohio EPA requires us to do every 5 years. We do a 5-year plan with 15-year projections. Inside of that, we demonstrate the goals set by the Ohio EPA, which is a 25% reduction in commercial and residential solid waste, as well as a 50% reduction in industrial. In this plan, the reference year 2018, we exercised a 32% reduction in solid waste with the on the commercial and residential side, as well as an 83% reduction on the industrial side. So we far exceeded our goals. And that's a great thanks to not just the cities and municipalities, but the industry and the commercial businesses in Miami County as well. With that, I'll of course entertain any questions that you guys may have.
You exceeded the goals, I mean,
Cool.
I appreciate that.
No, and this is something, the plan is available for all to read.
Sure.
We're in the ratification process. We have a 90-day process that we ask. I've been to a lot of meetings along these lines, and should you guys have any other questions beyond this in the future, I'm always a phone call or an email away.
Well, thank you for your availability.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Any questions from commissioners? Any questions from citizens? I will entertain a motion then.
I make a motion, we approve resolution number R-86-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-87-21.
A resolution for consent to accept a stormwater sewer easement on the property located on Miami County parcel N44-095560. I believe Mr. Petruzio will be presenting information with regard to the next two resolutions.
That's correct. Both of these resolutions encompass the same easement, but by property, but from different property owners. In July of 2021, the commission voted to approve a Vine and Broadway Street storm sewer replacement project. When they were designing the project, it was determined that parts of the project encroach on private property. The two easements that you're going, hopefully, to accept today are easements from those property owners, allowing the city to access those properties for stormwater purposes. And we already have prepared the easements. The property owners have already agreed to give us the easements, and these resolutions merely provide that the city would accept the easements.
Any questions from commissioners? Any questions from citizens? I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-87-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the final agenda item for tonight is resolution number R-88-21.
A resolution for consent to accept a stormwater sewer easement on the property located at 439 Vine Street.
Facts are exactly the same as the previous resolution, I'm sorry.
Any questions from the commission? Any questions from citizens? Then I will entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution R-88-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we are in public comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the city commission regarding agenda items, issues, or to provide information. Comments are requested to be limited to 5 minutes, and specific questions should be addressed to the city manager's office. Who would like to come forward?
Stephen Smitley, 1806 Wilshire Drive.
How you doing, sir?
Super good,
Good.
but I'm improving.
I like you. You're a good man.
Thank you. My profession for 40 years was a full-time associate pastor or pastor. I have been in ministry for 50-plus years. I mention these facts only to establish that I have dealt with spiritual things more often, more regularly than the regular person. Even with that background, there's still a lot that I don't know. And so tonight I'd like to reference some comments from a book called Unmasking the Devil by John Ramirez, who was the third highest Satanist in New York City until he was converted. So I'd like to make some references from his book. His first reference that I'd like to make is, I want to give you a glimpse into the unseen demonic world. As an ex-demonic evangelist, I know the ins and outs of that world, how Satan strategically plants strongholds in our neighborhoods, and every day we walk by the strongholds and they become normal to us, for us. Liquor stores in our neighborhoods are breaking families up through the spirit of alcoholism. This spirit is destroying families, loved ones, friends, and entire neighborhoods, and we do nothing about it. And then he lists in a couple pages later 15 doorways that the spirits enter into our neighborhoods and into our communities. Number 5 on that list of 15 is alcoholism, or actually he just says alcohol. And then for tonight, the most significant paragraph that I want to mention tonight is this. Let me give you an example of how they being unclean spirits, infiltrate and take over geographical areas that they take over first in the spirit realm, because everything starts in the spirit realm before you see it manifest in the natural. And that's why I'm so opposed to the Dora, because I really believe that. I understand that. I've seen it. I know it happens. It starts in the spirit realm before you see it come about in the natural realm. And I do believe that will happen if we allow Dora to persist. That's why I'm so concerned about Dora coming to Pickaway. I know the economics of Dora might look innocent enough, but I really believe the spiritual fallout will be disastrous, and I don't think you want to see that. Thank you for allowing me this time once again.
Anytime you come back. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Robert Merle. I live at 8655 Fairview Road. I currently have a lawsuit filed against me by the city of Piqua for a nuisance property on Park Avenue.
Okay.
And I've shown up to the court conferences. I've spoken to Frank. Frank has had to remove himself because I've done business and we're acquaintances. I'm acquaintances.
We are acquaintances, yes.
Acquaintances, and even with Ms. Jenkins. Anyhow, at the last court, what do you want to call it, conference, it was very disheartening because I went to speak to who's now currently representing the city of Piqua. I introduced myself, offered to shake hands, and the gentleman immediately just turned it into a Spanish Inquisition, never even introduced himself. I would expect more out of our public officials. I tried to answer his questions. He cut me off. He told me my responsibilities as a property owner, or lectured me about it, which is fine. He explained to me how he does his work around his places. But at the same time, when I said to him, look, if you let me answer your questions and stop cutting me off, let me answer your question and stop cutting me off. He immediately discontinued the conference. He said, "This conference is over," and turned his back on me. I looked at the gentleman, and I just stood there, waiting for him to turn around. I said, "You serious?" I didn't say, I don't know exactly what I said. I do know what I did say to him. I said, "I'm a taxpayer. I'm here for a pretrial conference." And he turned around, or he said to me, "Okay, go sit down." And I was sort of fine. This is a good thing. He's upset. I'm upset at this moment. I don't mind a cool-off period. I come back up, and I apologize. I say, "Hey, look, probably got off on the wrong foot." Well, he just asked a couple more questions and went directly to, "Well, do you want to set the trial today and we'll just pronounce you guilty and you can pay your fine? Or should we set a court date?" I said to the gentleman, "Let's set a court date." Which again, now he turns his back on me. Him and his clerk get up, walk out the back door. I'm not sure what's going on. So I just walk out the other door and I follow him. I figure, okay, we're going to go set a court date. And I'm just 2 or 3 steps behind them. They let me right back through into the chambers area where his office is at. Not more than 2 or 3 steps in there, he's talking to his clerk. And what comes out of his mouth? "That guy's full of shit." I follow him to his office, and I stand there, and he turns around and he goes, "What are you doing back here?" I said, "Well, I wasn't dismissed. We didn't shake hands. We didn't say goodbye. I assumed we're setting a court date." He says, "Look, we'll set the court date. We'll make you aware of what's going on." I said, "Okay. And by the way, I'm not full of shit." Today, I received a notice in the mail for a conference with him on the 30th. And if I can't make the conference, I have 10 days prior to the conference to go and tell him I can't make the conference, which I can't because I'll be leaving for work here hopefully in the next 12 hours. But I don't even have 10 days. Now I realize that they would probably entertain whatever I send to them.
Sure.
But I don't find this respectful, giving me or putting me in this position.
Who is that from exactly?
Let's see. It's from the prosecuting attorney, I guess, Grant D. Kerber.
It's a municipal court assignment notice setting a pretrial date.
Okay.
So, last week,
They don't, and Grant,
Who's the attorney that you're talking
yeah,
about?
well, who's the attorney from our office?
it's Grant Kerber.
So it was Grant.
Frank can't represent because
There's
we're
a conflict in this case, and so I can't represent it,
So Grant's handling it.
Grant's office.
Okay,
I don't know if it
that's-
was Grant
that's
in
what I thought.
particular, or if it was somebody else. They have several people that go there.
Now,
I'm
regardless of what's happened, I've spoken with Frank, I've spoken with Aaron. I know this situation on this property has been going on for 3 years. We've been dealing with COVID for 18 months now.
That's half of it, yeah.
I've gone out, I've got money already with the bank set up to go through on this property, but trying to find the proper people to get this accomplished. I've got the contracts, I've shown them to Frank. In fact, Frank said when I was at the conference or talking to Grant, that usually suggests that we set up a
Schedule.
schedule. I suggested that. He said, "No, that's not what this court is here to do. We don't monitor these things." From what I understand, because of the situation I'm in, I've been trying to figure out the easiest way and the hardest way to get it accomplished. One was just trying to get a fast sale on the house and just remove it. Well, this follows the sale. This situation will follow the sale. And I don't want to make anybody
Burden
think that
somebody
I'm trying to
else.
pull a slick one, but I looked at that option. I'm not going to do that. I've got the money. It's trying to get everything set up. I mean,
Have you talked with our city manager?
have I talked to their city?
Ours.
No, I've only talked to Frank. And
Here's my
Aaron.
suggestion, Bob, is why don't you schedule a meeting, how long are you going to be out of town?
Probably till about the 1st. It could go past the 1st. I've got to go down to Miami for training because I turned into a pumpkin at work come September 30th.
Hope not.
Why don't you get a schedule together of the repairs that Aaron asked you to do, bring it to the office, we'll sit down with you. Paul will sit down if you need to. I'm in on Monday mornings, and then we'll do.
Yeah, this seems like something we can work out, something we can work with you on.
Well, at this current time, I mean, I've shown that, you know, even before this got started, I've been talking to Jim Roberts last spring to get things started.
Sure.
And unfortunately, he's backed out. I've had a couple other contractors back out. I finally believe I've got, all the windows are ordered up. I mean, there's Grant Kerber. I said, look, the windows are ordered, and they're supposed to be here about the 16th of September. I'm not sure if they're exactly here yet, because the window man was going to jack the house. He went to start jacking the house about a week or so ago, and he says it's a bigger job than he can handle. So now I've got another gentleman here, local, Dwayne.
You set it up. You're willing to work. We see that the intent's there. They're gonna work with you. So you get with, when you get back, you get with Frank and Paul and work out a schedule, set up a schedule. You know, we're not ogres. We wanna work
Oh,
with you.
I understand that, and.
Oh, and I
haven't-
understand your frustration.
And I haven't been exactly trying to hide.
No, like I said, I've
But
known you a long time,
at this-
haven't I?
Right.
And I know that you're not like that, so.
And even though, you know, the house, we keep it mowed.
Yep.
It does miss a week here and there,
Well,
but
mine's a little high right now.
yeah, well, we've had an extremely wet year this year.
Yes, sir. So, hey, if you're willing to work with us still, then we're
I'm
willing to work with you.
But I'd just like to find out at what point,
If we reach an agreement on this, Bob, what will happen is I'll call the other prosecutor and say we have an agreement. They'll dismiss the case with cost at that point in time.
You can do that?
As long as you follow through with it at that, the agreement, we won't do anything else,
okay,
okay?
well, I guess, okay. Who do I need to see, and when would they like to see me, or when would
When
be
you
the
come
best
back.
time? Well, I won't be leaving out probably till tomorrow afternoon. I'd rather like to come in and set up at least some sort of framework before I leave, so that, you know, everybody knows where this stands. I mean,
If you'll check with Karen tomorrow and schedule, I'm usually in Monday mornings, and she'll schedule a Monday morning with me.
okay. And whatever the schedule, I don't know if it's a monthly schedule or what you know, we've got,
We want a plan, okay, and give us something reasonable, and we'll work with you on something that's reasonable. I mean, obviously, it can't go out for 2 years, but
Yeah.
if you're saying something in the next few months, you'll be done, or something like that, we certainly will work with you on things of that
well,
nature.
it's probably gonna go well into the spring. We're talking $40,000 worth of work.
Sure.
And
As long as we
the
see some
gentleman who's
progress.
Yep.
jacking the house says it's gonna take about 30 days, because you have to do it in sections and
Yes, sir.
so on. And he saw some damage, so we have an exterminator coming in this week to take care of the powder post beetle, because you don't want to, anyhow.
We're gonna work with you, okay?
All right,
All right. Thank you for your time.
thank you.
I appreciate you bringing that up. Anybody else? Any citizen? Any other citizen? Let's go to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I have 2 items on my list tonight to report out. The first is the hydrant flushing that started on Monday. Just be aware of it. There's two of our staff that are going around and doing the hydrant flushing as they've done in the past. And so they're going to be emailing out the communications for press release of the locations they'll be working at. And it's going to be ongoing for a while. And the second would be resurfacing, which was scheduled to start Monday. Looks like we have rain in the forecast this
Yeah.
week. So some of that work will be delayed, but primarily that's a mill and fill process with adjusting manhole lids and water boxes and things like that, and then replacing pavement markings as needed. So the paving and resurfacing program will continue. To talk about Looney Road, we did go out there with a contractor and do some crack fill, as well as Public Works went out and did some patching, spot patching.
How long do you think that's good for?
Well, we're knocking on wood that we get the 23 funds set up and we're out there resurfacing. By then, it could be easily $1 million worth of work to do a mile of road. It's 4 lanes, quarter mile each way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of work. So that being said, we're going to continue to keep it patched and maintained in the interim, and then hopefully have that on the 23 plan. What you'll be seeing as we move forward, especially with our maintenance plans, is that we're going to weave together what we've learned in terms of what engineering and Amy Havener brought forward in our pavement preservation plan. So that'll be next year more, I guess, structured in terms of our resurfacing and what we do with surface treatments versus mill and fill and things like that to try to extend the life of our pavement and at least make some headway instead of being reactive, is try to be proactive. So as time goes on, we'll have more work sessions and roll that out as we get the information from Transmap and build the plan.
Okay.
That's all I have this evening.
All right. Any questions for him, guys? No? All right. How about commissioners' reports? Let's start with Commissioner Hines.
Sure. I've got just a couple announcements. This Friday, we have another home football game, and it's senior night, so we are honoring our senior football players, and hopefully we have some nice weather. We are 5-0 at this point, so go Piqua. It's been fun just watching those players, and many of you know my son is a senior this year, so I've known a lot of these kids since kindergarten, so it's really exciting to kind of watch them come together and have a really great football season, especially this year. Also, just a reminder, as we think about our schools, State of the Schools is coming up on the 28th, next Tuesday at 7:30, and I'm sure that you could talk to Piqua City Schools to make reservation, or the Chamber of Commerce if you wanted to come and just get a handle on the state of our schools. I also want to read something, and I want to address some of the lies that have been told about me in the paper, some fodder that has been going around the upcoming election. And I want to read this first piece about our city charter. Our city charter says that the president of the commission, who shall have the title of mayor, shall preside at meetings of the commission and perform such duties consistent with his office as may be imposed by the commission. He shall be recognized as the official head of the city for all ceremonial purposes by the courts for the purpose of serving civil process, and by the governor for military purposes. And that's the end of what our city charter says. I want to remind our citizens that all commissioners have equal vote and equal representation. None of us sitting up here has any more power than the other. When I was mayor, I held a meeting on being a candidate, and this meeting highlighted how the process worked. This meeting was presented by local attorney Mike Gutman. Now, it's not easy to find people to run for commission. And in this time of negativity, many do not even want to put their hat in the ring. And I, for one, can understand this, as I have been attacked and misrepresented again and again and again. And I will say that each of these people who are up here today, when they came on the commission, I gave them a packet of information of history of where we've been in order to help them as they lead. Our family moved here in 2008, and we quickly fell in love with Piqua. We have volunteered at the Bethany Center, Salvation Army summer lunch program, passing out food during the pandemic, and have served on local committees and boards. We have given tirelessly of our time to help the city that we adopted back in 2008 as our home. I ran for office because I wanted to help our city. And in my tenure as mayor, I spoke at numerous conferences throughout the Miami Valley promoting our community. I did my very best to serve our citizens with energy and integrity. The Lock 9 project was delayed due to the pandemic. Prior to that, work was being done to prepare the site. The Piqua City Pool has had issues for years. long before I ever came on to the commission, and the city did its best to keep it going. I am a huge proponent for the Hans Pavilion and to keep it open. I actually had a meeting with our city manager and Tom Westfall this past spring, encouraging the city to do something about Hans Pavilion. It is a wonderful landmark for our city, and I'm proud of the arts that we have here in our community. There are issues that need to be addressed to bring it up to code that take money, and in the times that we're in, money is extremely tight. I am proud to call Piqua my home. I am not proud of the negativity that we are hearing again and again and again. My wish is that we as a community would spend more time building one another up instead of tearing one another down. And my friends, the future of Piqua depends on just this. That's the end of my comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Grissom.
Thanks. So I only have a couple items. One is just an update on the medical marijuana dispensaries. The state of Ohio just yesterday opened up, not officially the applications, but posted they're going to allow 2 weeks for Q&A sessions for anybody that's interested in applying for an application, because the process itself can be a little bit confusing and hard to navigate. But they're looking at having those applications submitted by, I think, November 4th or 6th, right at the first week of November. So that's something that was discussed, how long ago was that? Probably earlier this spring. They were looking at open applications, spring, summertime. It's just now gotten approved. So I know there was questions in the past, is the city going to apply for an application? No, that's not how it works. What we've done is made it so we don't have restrictions within the city of Piqua. We just follow the state laws, so it can't be within 500 feet of a school, library, church, or playground. But it's up to an investor to submit for that application. So just try to give everybody an update. That's kind of where that project's at. At the end of that application period, the state of Ohio will look at them, make sure that they meet the requirements, at which point they'll actually do a drawing for who will get an a license. Our area is Southwest District 3, and will be only available 2 licenses for our entire area. So just wanted to give an update there. And then the second update is the DORA. We're looking at a go live on October 1st. We will still be doing that 90-day evaluation. We do have our website. We're going to be providing information on the rules, working with the local businesses and entities to make sure that they're understanding, produce signage, and then again looking back for feedback from the community on how's that's going, good or bad, so that us as a commission can make adjustments as needed, or whether or not we decide to continue that or disband it. So just kind of an update there as well too.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner.
Yeah, I wanted to reiterate congratulations to Lorena Lukic on her retirement. Very dedicated, and I'm sure that she will enjoy her retirement. Also, congratulations to St. Paul's Church, celebrating 175 years. I think St. James Episcopal Church next year will be celebrating 200 years. And we're right over here on the corner across from the post office. A reminder that Thursday evening here at the City Building at 7 p.m. we're having a town hall. And Amy Welker will be here to present to us some information that I think will be all of interest to you. So I want you to come and bring your questions and your concerns. All the commissioners, the city manager will be here, and we look forward to seeing you here Thursday evening at 7. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Foat.
I'd like to just talk real briefly about the Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast that was held over the weekend. We had some great attendance that was there while I was there flipping pancakes in the morning. Want to thank Chief Byron, Chief Polsnyder for coming out. I got a chance to see Mayor Lee when he was out there as well. I heard that Commissioner Grissom was out there flipping pancakes.
I'll throw them high.
I wasn't.
Maybe to the city manager.
I get
You didn't make it
scared.
out there, so, well, I appreciate the Kiwanis putting that on. It's the first time that I've got to, volunteer for something like that. Great experience, met some great people that I've never met before in the community, and thanks to all the city employees that was out there working. Coming up October 6th, Joe Wilson got a hold of me. He is hosting, I want to call it a neighbors project, where we're going to be going out into a neighborhood, and it's actually going to be back in Shawnee, the first house that's going to be on the project for this year. I want to thank him for the invite. I will absolutely be going out there to help out in my ward. And as these projects come along, count on seeing me out there at these projects. It's community involvement, and it's something that I've stressed as neighbors helping neighbors. So I'm glad to see that something's happening here, and we're going to move forward with it. Commissioner Grissom, he talked about the dispensary application, so I'm going to let that one go. I'm still working on the urban chickens. There's some more communities in Ohio that are starting to pick the ball up on this thing. And I know there's still some opposition in the city of Piqua about it, but however, I'm going to continue to pursue this and come up with plans to make this thing successful in the city of Piqua. And we're getting ready to come into fall time and winter time, and the trees downtown become a huge concern at this point in time because of the birds moving down there. So I'm going to ask from the city manager, is there any possible way that we can look at thinning those trees out to maybe stop the safe harboring for those birds that are down there so much? Would that be possible?
Yeah, so actually, earlier in the spring, I'd asked Main Street if they were interested in doing a survey of the trees. The species have overgrown their life cycle, and they're an attractive nuisance currently. And we had talked about just eliminating the trees until we actually have another project that would go back and replant the trees, but we haven't gotten that far. I'll reinitiate that conversation with Main Street. And we talked about a survey too, was that the proper location of the trees? Did they just want them on the ends of the block? So we're going to do some information gathering, and I'll work with engineering as well as Main Street and planning to make sure that we have something in place.
And are there any updates on the possible relocation of the salt barns that I talked about a month ago?
The Public Works salt barn?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're currently looking at either relocating that permanently, or if we do a temporary structure, we're still exploring. We'll be using the actually logistical data for the snow routes when we have it to understand if we have two different locations, one east and one west, it'll reduce the deadhead time and therefore the mileage for each of the drivers to do their route. So we haven't settled in on that. Currently, we've done some improvements to the building to get us through another winter. My intent would be that we get out of the salt business down along the river by next year.
All right, thank you. Mm-hmm. That is it.
That is it. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Foat. And I got a little list here, so bear with me. I'd like to thank the Piqua football team for their 5-0 start. I'm very, very happy and impressed with how well they're doing. With that win over Troy, I was able to secure a bet and win a bet against Troy's mayor. And this Thursday, we will be going to Elite on North Main Street. Is it 423? 431 Main Street. And we will be getting the Troy mayor a Piqua shirt. And she will take a picture with me in my Piqua shirt. And Mike Ullery will meet us there, and it will be in the paper. So if anybody would like to come and spend some money at Elite or watch this happen, you're more than welcome to come. Kiwanis Pancake Day was a big success while I was there. I was there it was pretty early, about 7:30 to like 9, or maybe it was closer to 8 to 9:30 or so. It was a good time and good people, and the food was good. Taste of Piqua, I was able to stop out, and I did taste some of the food, which was excellent. I mean, I got some pizza, which I like. I stopped and saw Commissioner Grissom. And I tasted some of the beer from the Crooked Handle that's coming in, which is excellent. I'm looking forward to that. So it was a rousing success. I want to thank Lorna and all their staff, and as well as Kathy Sherman. That's right. I'm getting old. and her staff and everybody that was involved with the Taste of Pickett was great. Jordan Epler as well. So, thank you to Lorena Lukic for her 20 years of long service. Appreciate that. When anytime someone can successfully retire from the city of Piqua and move on with their life, and they've dedicated their time and helped the city, we appreciate them. I want to also congratulate St. Paul's for their 175th year celebration. And next on my list is remember that Halloween is October 28th from 6 to 8. It's a Thursday. And I don't know where I'll be, if we'll be passing candy out or if I'll be at the fire department, but I'll be out and about and hope to see some scary folks, young folks out getting candy. And I also want to echo on what Commissioner Hines said. In this era of election, there is no need for any negativity. I do not endorse, nor do I recommend anybody make negative statements. It's not helpful. It is hard to get people to run. As I have said before, and two public discourses, I want to thank the person that is running against me because he's willing to serve. He's coming out. He's doing what's necessary so that he could be part of the conversation. And we need more people to do the exact same thing. So if any slight was made to him, and it was not made on my behalf, and I don't want people to do that. If they do, it's not welcome, nor is it endorsed, nor is any negative comments towards former Mayor Hines and current Commissioner Hines. She's shown her dedication, her love for the city, and she is up here continuing to serve. So you will see that my actions speak louder than words, and I will not echo any of the negativity, and we'll run a positive campaign, and I know my opponent is doing the exact same. He is very positive. So, and with that said, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.